Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving into the life and music of a songwriter who, really, with just his guitar and his poetry, became the soul of an entire nation during a time of incredible conflict.
进攻森
And that's the question that really gets to the heart of his incredible legacy, isn't it? How does one person's music come to represent the innermost feelings of millions, especially when you're right in the middle of a war? This lyric, it just perfectly captures the essence of his message. At a time that was completely defined by division and hate, his constant refrain was this simple but honestly pretty radical call for love and shared humanity. Okay, so to really understand his impact, we have to start with the man himself and get into why he holds such a revered, almost sacred place in Vietnamese culture. You see, he wasn't just a musician. He was a true artist, a philosopher. And that comparison to Bob Dylan, it's really fitting, because just like Dylan, he gave a voice to the anxieties and the hopes of a whole generation, putting into words feelings that so many people felt but just couldn't express. And this brings us right to the core of his most famous work. His most powerful songs, they were literally forged in the fire of the Vietnam War, not as anthems of battle, but as these deeply moving pleas for peace. I mean, you have to remember, he was writing in this incredibly intense environment. As the conflict got worse and worse, his music became even more direct. In 1966, his Songs of Golden Skin was this powerful call for the Vietnamese people to see themselves as one. But by 1972, his message was seen as so potent, so dangerous, that his music was officially banned by the South Vietnamese government. And the contrast here, it was just so stark. On one hand, you had the official radio stations broadcasting songs that glorified sacrifice. But on the other hand, his music was spreading organically, through student gatherings and cafes. It offered this powerful counter-narrative, one that focused on a shared sorrow instead of division, seeing not enemies, but brothers. And his lyrics were absolutely unflinching. He did not shy away from the brutal reality of the war. This raw, heartbreaking imagery of your own family members, your siblings lying dead in the mud, of a civil war where brother was fighting brother, that is precisely why his songs hit home so deeply with ordinary people. But, and this is a big but, if you only see him as an anti-war writer, you're missing the deeper philosophy in his work. His canvas was so much larger than the war. It was life itself. So here's the crucial point. War was a theme, for sure, but his true subject was the human condition. He was always exploring these Buddhist ideas of impermanence, of life being this fleeting journey, and of love as this beautiful but often pretty painful experience. And you'll see he used these powerful, poetic images again and again. The pouring rain, for example, could be sorrow, but it could also be a kind of cleansing. Fading flowers represented the fleeting nature of beauty and life. Through these recurring ideas, he explored these universal feelings. Love, nostalgia, a kind of gentle melancholy that felt so personal, yet everyone could understand it. His love songs are rarely just simple ballads. They're really philosophical meditations. This lyric here, it's not just about lost love. It's about how time can transform our most intense emotions into something hard, like a stone, or into a sorrow that's as persistent as rain. It's about the enduring ache of memory. Okay, so finally, let's look at why, more than 2 decades after his death, his songs are still an absolute cornerstone of Vietnamese culture. What is it that makes them so timeless? Well, first of all, there's just the sheer volume of his work. We're talking over 600 songs. He basically created this vast emotional landscape, a song for almost every human experience you can think of, and new generations are still exploring it. And what's really amazing is that his appeal is completely cross-generational. For the older generations, sure, it's a nostalgic connection to their past. But for Vietnamese youth, the poetry and the themes of life and love still feel incredibly relevant. And now, you've got this growing international audience that's discovering him as a true world music icon. And this, right here, this is his ultimate legacy. His music went beyond politics, it went beyond war, and it has absolutely gone beyond time. It's woven itself right into the fabric of daily life, becoming the quiet, soulful soundtrack of the Vietnamese experience. So we'll leave you with this final thought. In an age of constant noise and loud opinions, the enduring power of his work really lies in its quiet, profound humanity. It's a reminder that sometimes the most powerful voice isn't the one that shouts, but the one that speaks for the heart. And that's a lesson that's maybe more relevant today than ever before.